and we are officially live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Grapple Gumshoes. This is your Mystery Wrestling post show here at BC WrestlePod. My name is Mikey. I am at BC WrestlePod, and I am joined this evening by my lovely co-host tonight, Mr. Jerry Lindberger Cheese himself, also known as Jesse. Happy to have you here tonight, friend.
I'm going with
We love to see it. Oh my goodness. So tonight we are here to what seemed to be like not that long ago, but we are here to be covering Mystery Wrestling 23. So this is the debut for Mystery
this was
Wrestling.
definitely less time in between shows for that.
And it's going to keep getting shorter because we got like bi-weekly at this point. We got 24 and 25 coming to us about hot.
Okay.
So, oh my goodness. This is the Edmonton debut for Mystery Wrestling. So, before we get into all of this nonsense, really quickly to do the intro bits for everyone, whether you are new or you have been rocking with us for a while, let's get through this as much as we can. So, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick is where you can see us go live pretty much almost every single day of the week at this point. But if you're looking for something that is a little more manageable, you can check out our social medias where you can get the gist of what we do, because over there you see report cards and clips from these shows, as well as predictions and previews of everything that's going on in the wrestling world. So it is a great time. We also have some merchandise at our store, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. Link in the chat for everywhere that we are streaming currently right now, so you can check that out. And last but certainly not least, we do have a coffee bot that helps us pay for all these things that we watch all the wrestling in. So if you feel free to incline to help us, keep this content going, then you are allowed to do so. That link will be popping up ever so often. But if not, you being here is enough. And we love you and appreciate your support of any kind. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into Mystery Wrestling 23. So, as we always do before we get into our first match, let's talk about who we got on the commentary team this time around. So, of course, as always, on the commentary team, we have Mr. Evil Uno himself. But joining him at the commentary desk for Mystery Wrestling 23 is our one and own personal favorite, Mr. Clap Them Cheeks himself. Junior Benito is in the house, and I really enjoyed him on commentary this time.
His commentary was good. Not as good as his shirt in this image, though.
Having a whole entire cackle with this, I was like, this shirt is great. And we're on Twitch, so we can't get copyrighted, but this shirt was great, Junior Benito. We love it. And this was fun. I liked having him on commentary. It was a lot of fun, for sure.
But definitely not the worst guest commentator they've had. It was fun to hear things from his perspective, but I do miss that we didn't get him in the ring tonight because he is fun to watch.
For sure. Hopefully, he will be appearing at Mystery Wrestling 24 or even 25 later this month. But, I look forward to when we get him back in the ring because he is fantastic. But that is our commentary team for the evening. So let's get into match numero uno, shall we? So, as always, here, as we do with Mystery Wrestling, we end up getting our Druids match. So that is what kicked off Mystery Wrestling 23 here. And we were introduced to not only 4 new people, because these are all new folks to me, which I'm excited about, but this ended up turning. Nope. And this ended up turning into a championship match. So before we get into the match itself, to set it up in our Druids match, we ended up getting the makeup of Weston King, Krieger, Scorpius, and the top talent champion, Big Jesse Youngblood. And this turned into a championship match for Big Jesse's title. So I was like, all right, here we go. Let's do it.
The match, I gotta say, it wasn't the best Druid match they've had. I mean, we've had 23 of them now, so it was a functional opener. It was kind of cool for the Druid match, but it served its purpose. It started out, it was definitely like the high energy they usually start with, and that's kind of what needed, especially this smaller indie promotion. They're getting people in the seats, so this is the kind of action that call to action that gets people to sit.
Most certainly. And again, like we both have said already, is that these are 4 new individuals to us. But hey, you know what? I'm here to learn more about the independent Canadian wrestling scene through Mystery Wrestling. And so this was a pretty solid opener. It definitely got everyone there. Of course, again, the people who are in Canada and follow the Canadian independent wrestling scene are probably more familiar to these folks, a la like we are with our independents here in the States. But this is a really fun match. Big Jesse retained his title, and I have no complaints. This is a pretty solid opener.
Now, yeah, I'm not sure if you've done any research, but it seemed to me they had to make a lot of changes due to, like, weather and travel being impacted.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a lot of places, especially looking at pictures and videos people send me of them in the airports. I'm like, why are we waiting 3 hours in TSA?
We know why we're waiting 3 hours, but I digress from that.
Like, that's another podcast. You could tune into our other channel. Just kidding. Listen, art is inherently political, is what we're going to say. Anyways, back to this. Big Jesse again retains the title. And yeah, this is a fun opener. Alrighty. So from here, we get into our next match, which is a grand spectacle in itself because we get a two-man battle royale, but it is not just a battle royale with two men, but it is a best of 5 out of 9 battle royale. And I'm gonna just put this image here because it's great. So we our second match of the evening is the best 5 out of 9 falls two-man battle royale. So, of course, on the left, we have Mars, the specialist, and on the right, we have Cecil Nix. So this was a lot of fun for sure. I love that Cecil's whole entire thing now as he is wrestling is he's getting tired of being in these weird stipulation matches, which is a lot of fun for sure. And he's like, I just want a regular match. That's all I want. But of course, it's mystery wrestling. So we need to have a specialty match of some kind. And this is exactly what we got. This is our first comedy match of the entire night. And I could not complain. Again, Cecil Nix is constantly here at Mystery Wrestling. So I did not have a problem. I love seeing him. I know JVL is a big fan of Cecil. In fact, so much so that he's named him, his wrestler of the year. And yes. And then of course, new to us is Mars with a Z, the specialist. So yeah, welcome back, Jesse.
Thank you. Thank you for the welcome. I love Cecil. I think he's my favorite in this entire promotion. Every match he does is just so wildly entertaining, and it's a very good blend of the comedy wrestling. Plus, dude's actually a really good worker. Like he can work with pretty much anybody, any size. So he's always impressive to me. This was one of my favorite matches, and such a ridiculous stipulation, which he's become known for. The what was it, 5 out of 9 falls?
The 5 out of 9 fall. It's a two-man battle royale. Like, it is a mouthful, but this is just great fun. And I like great fun. And that's what we need sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean, I have no notes other than if you wanna just sit and enjoy something and watch wrestling that's silly for the sake of being silly, that doesn't take itself too seriously, this is a good match to watch.
most definitely. This is a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun spots here in terms of the wrestling. They had me laughing a lot at points. So this was also a lot of fun as well. So this was great. Mars, the specialist, does end up winning this, but I was entertained. I had a great time with this one. And Cecil Nix, you're never going to get a regular match, and that is okay. Let's see it.
I think he should stumble into the championship out of a comedy match. Like, he earned in my opinion, he's earned it.
Oh, 100%. This was a lot of fun. Alrighty. So we move on though. So we move on from our best 5 out of 9 falls two-man battle royale and we get into a regular tag team match, which was really, really good in my personal opinion. I thought it was some really solid wrestling. So in our tag team match, we have the team on the left, Ava Lawless and Riley Rose, taking on the team on the right of Zoe Sager and Taryn from accounting, which I love that.
Aaron from accounting. I love this match. This was my favorite match out of the entire card. The placement was great because we had one that was, started as a comedy, turned into a regular wrestling. It was very fast. Then the 5 out of 9 ridiculousness, and then this it came in, it hit so hard, it changed the pace of the night. And the workers in here I love this match. I cannot say enough about it.
I did too. And I agree with you, Jesse, that this was placed perfectly in the card. This was part of the first half still. It was the third match of the evening. And this was just good tag team wrestling, which we long yearned for in the world of professional wrestling. It was like
Good
tag team
tag team
wrestling.
women's wrestling too. We don't get that very often in any of the promotions. And Mystery doesn't really get too many women matches in there. So the fact that they had this one and the fact that it was so good too, I'm hoping leads to them getting more of these in the future or doing more of these in the future.
I hope so. And it also helps too that Evil Uno is also having mystery wrestling work with other comedy-based promotions too. To go on a sidebar here, and I'll just go back to this match. 2 weeks ago, Mystery Wrestling was in Japan to team up with Choco Pro, which is a Japanese comedy wrestling that they are literally wrestling in, like, someone's living room, and it is fantastic and a lot of fun. But they also announced, or at least Evil Uno announced, that TJPW, so Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, is making their Vancouver debut next week. And when I was looking at the card, I was like, hey, I know some of these women, like Kristara is going to be there. Some of the women from that we have seen on Mystery Wrestling is going to be, locking it up with the girls of TJPW. So I was like, I love that. And you know what? I would love to see a TJPW Mystery Wrestling cross promotional show in the future if it works out. But back to this match. Again, I thought this was a really good tag team wrestling from both sides. I think this was a lot of fun for sure. In ring was solid. And I like when Mystery Wrestling mixes it up. Of course, we say this all the time. We get our comedy, but we also get some really good wrestling. And honestly, the independent scene of Canadian women's wrestling is really
Where
showcasing a lot of fun talent. So,
am I going again?
no, you're here. We're just buffering. Anyways, okay. So while Jesse fixes himself, I'm gonna continue and wrap up my thoughts before going into the next match. Sure. Again, I really love women's wrestling in general. We all do. And I think Mystery Wrestling does a really fun job. And I'm loving learning more about the women's talent in Canada, which you don't get to see that often in, well, anywhere. And I watch a lot of wrestling, so it's crazy. But it would be Ava Lawless and Riley Rose to pick up the win here. And this was a really fantastic match. So I agree with Jesse. This is probably one of my favorite matches of the entire night in terms of just wrestling wise. I thought it was really good. But yeah, so that was cool. All right. We get into our final match of the first half of the show, which is match number 4. This is, of course, our Stu Grayson, who is the former Mystery Wrestling champion who previously held all the marbles, but doesn't hold the marbles anymore. And not only that, he is, because I got to see a lot of him in this past weekend, because I watch a lot of wrestling. He is also our new interim MLP men's champion. So he is the new temporary interim Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling men's champion, which is a lot of fun and is fantastic. And I'm like, good for him because he is great. So, but anywho, moving on, Stu Grayson was taking on the Invisible Man, which was insane. And I was just like, how that gonna work? I don't know how this gonna work, but we gonna try. I would like to go on record by saying, and I tell this to the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod crew here because a lot of them are theater people. I am not a theater person, but I am trying to learn and I'm doing my best, you guys. But this match had a lot of physical comedy in it, and there has to be a level of awareness of your audience, of your space, and my personal opinion of you as the performer. Because Stu Grayson fighting the Invisible Man had to he had to make it believable that he was wrestling someone even though there was no one there. Stu Grayson, I was thoroughly entertained. He sold DDTs and crazy moves. I was having a ball. I was laughing so hard during this. And I think Stu Grayson is one of those talents that is just a solid wrestler. And I feel like people are now kind of starting to give him the flowers that he is, should be given. But I had a fun time and I had a key where he finally got the goggles that allowed him to see the Invisible Man and was able to hit his finisher. There was ref bumps. This was entertaining and I had such a blast. This was so much fun and I cannot say any other good things about this. I was having a ball with all of it. And I have no complaints. I'm gonna be honest. I have no complaints, no qualms about anything. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a fun time with this. And again, I think it's important that when you have comedy wrestling, especially if it's a lot of physical comedy like this match was, I believe that it is important that as a wrestler, especially Stu Grayson, you are aware of how you're selling this, how you're selling the physical comedy. And literally, this was a one man show for Stu Grayson, and I thought he did a really excellent job. Stu Grayson would end up beating the Invisible Man, but I was having a key. I was laughing my little butt cheeks off. I was having a good time with this, and this was a fun, entertaining match. Didn't take itself too seriously, and I had a blast. So I couldn't stop smiling, and I think that this is why I love mystery wrestling because I'm laughing and I'm having a good time, and it is fantastic. So this match ended up ending the first half of the show before we went to commercial break. And before we get into the second half of the show, Mystery Wrestling is going to be very busy for the month of April because they got two events coming up soon here. Next weekend on April 12th, they have Mystery Wrestling 24, which is going to be where we get Kenta making his Mystery Wrestling debut, or at least reappearance or debut. I don't know anymore. But Mystery Wrestling is going to have Kenta there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I cannot wait to see that one because I'm a huge mark for Kenta. I think he is such a fun wrestler. He's a devastating heart striker, but he also is funny. And I feel like people forget that Kenta can be really funny when he wants to. So I'm excited to see to the extent of what we did get with Kenta here. But then on top of that, later in the month of April, we get Mystery Wrestling 25, which is the 3-year anniversary of Mystery Wrestling. So we're heading back to our home, area in the little bingo hall. And I'm excited to see what Evil Uno has cooked up for Mystery Wrestling for the 3-year anniversary. And it also should be noted, though, that Mystery Wrestling 24 is going to be a part of AEW's Dynasty weekend. So Mystery Wrestling will be happening Saturday, and then Dynasty will be happening the next day on Sunday. So that's going to be fun. Stay tuned for all of that nonsense. Now then, with that out of the way, let's get into the second half. So we open up the second half of Mystery Wrestling 23 with match number 5, which is a Mystery Wrestling World title match, but it is also, more importantly, for all the marbles. So, of course, we have our newly minted champion, London Lightning. He comes out first in his crop top of a shirt, which we love that. Then, on top of that, he cuts a promo, talks about how he's the champion and all this good stuff. It's like a very babyface promo. So then we get his opponent, which I was shocked and pleasantly surprised to see that for his first title defense, London Lightning would be defending the title against Tommy Billington. So the Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington. So I'm a sucker for Tommy Billington. AEW, Ring of Honor, him and Adam Priest are doing some really good work as a tag team over there. I'm having a blast watching them. Tommy Billington is just good, like old school catch style wrestling. I mean, spitting moveset like his uncle and his father and all that stuff. So keeping the moniker of the Dynamite Kid alive, which we love it. This was more strictly a wrestling match, and I thought this was a really solid match. The only critique I really have with this is, to me, it felt like it was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. There's some good execution of moves. There was some good chain wrestling here, but I was trying to figure out as to why it felt so short. Now, again, it's just me, and that's the only issue I had with this match, but I thought it was really solid. And I thought this was a really fun first title defense for London Lightning, who, spoiler alert, does end up hitting a gnarly looking top rope plex to get the 3 count and to retain his Mystery Wrestling Championship, as well as still being able to hold on to all the marbles, which is great. So I had a blast with this one. I thought this was a really fun match. I do wish that it was a little bit longer, and I'm very interested to see where we go next now that we have a new champion in London Lightning, and to see how we're going to progress his character and to see what kind of opponents he's going to get. So I had a blast with this one. This was a really fun, excuse me. And I'm looking forward to his next title defense, and I'm looking forward to see more Tommy Billington down the road as well. Alrighty, kids, strap in because we are pulling out the vault for this one because we get into our semi-main event, match number 6, which is a singles match, which sees Harlan Abbott. So new to Harlan, love his look. Hey. And he is taking on the legendary man himself and Mr. Taka Michinoku. Yes, if you are asking yourself, wait a minute, where have I heard the word Michinoku before? And if you're thinking about the Michinoku driver, you are absolutely correct. And this is the father of the Michinoku driver. Taka Michinoku is the man that basically created the move, and now it has become a staple in a lot of wrestlers today. So we pulled this man out of the vault for this match. This was really fun. I always worry when we have our elder statesmen of wrestling get involved, especially the Japanese wrestlers. Then again, Japanese wrestlers will go wrestle until like they're 85 and they will keep going. I mean, I'm looking at Murder Grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki, out here still wrestling, and he's crazy and I love him. But Taka Michinoku looked really good. This match was a little bit on the shorter side, but it makes a lot of sense because Taka Michinoku is pushing 60 at this point. But gosh darn it, man. This was an entertaining match. I was entertained. I had a good time with this one. And it was really nice to see one of the pioneers of a common wrestling move that we're used to seeing now be able to win this match. Spoiler alert, Takamichi Noku ends up beating Harlan Abbott. I thought this was really good. And I really love that even at his age, Takamichi Noku is still able to pull the power base when he has to, because Harlan Abbott is a big man. He's a big, burly dude. And I appreciated this match, and it was really fun. I would like to see more of Takamichi Noku. So we'll see what happens next, but I had a good time with this one. It was fun. So after this match, we get into our final match of the evening, which I was cracking up the entire time. We had Psycho Mike taking on Sasquatch. Now, to kind of set this up a little bit, because you might be wondering to yourself, why is Sasquatch wearing the MJF scarf and has a ring pop for the diamond ring and wearing like something trunks that MJF would wear? Well, originally, when Mystery Wrestling 23 was announced before the tickets went on sale, it was being advertised that MJF was going to be on the show. And I was excited. MJF, Mystery Wrestling would be fantastic. However, it would be later, it would be told by us, by Evil Uno, that due to some scheduling and logistic issues, MJF would no longer be able to appear at Mystery Wrestling 23. And so we were all kind of bummed because we were wondering how MJF would be able to, or how MJF would fit into Mystery Wrestling's chaotic world. But I have to give MJF Max some credit here because he did sent in some voiceover work for the voice of Sasquatch, and it was great. And this match was just chaotic because Psycho Mike is doing all his Psycho Mike things, looking at the hard camera, body slams. It was fantastic. And then Sasquatch out here giving us the greatest hits of MJF, from like the walk to the crotch, thrust, to all of MJF's move sets, including like the ring, which was fantastic to watch. This was just a really fun way to end the night and to end the show. I had a blast with this one, and this was so much fun. Sasquatch would end up defeating Psycho. So this was just a fun match to send the crowd home happy. This was entertaining, and I had a good time with this one. And despite MJF not being able to be a part of the show, it was really cool that Max sent in some voice clips. And then we got to have Sasquatch like as a pseudo substitute for Max doing all his bits in like comedic fashion. Very entertaining. Had a blast with this one. But that is it for Mystery Wrestling 23. Again, when we do these reviews, there's just a lot of fun. It's really hard to try to articulate in enough words that what comedy wrestling can be about. But Mystery Wrestling has become one of my personal faves to watch. It makes it so easy to watch because I know I'm going to get good wrestling. I'm going to get some funny moments. And more importantly, I'm getting introduced to a lot of people that have never seen before, or I'm not really, hip on, so to speak. But it's really, really fun. And I had a blast with this one. And I'm looking forward to when we're back in 2 weeks to talk about Mystery Wrestling 24. So stay tuned for all of that one. But that's going to be it for us tonight at the Grapple Gumshoes. I would like to thank my co-host Jesse. I know the internet is not our friend sometimes here, and I appreciate him being here though for the little bit that he was, and I appreciate all of you at home watching this live. Before I get up on out of here, I want to run down what the remainder of the week looks like. I will be back in about an hour to cover Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's Uprising. I think I'm going to be the only one at the show tonight, but that is okay. So I am fine with that. Oh, hold up. So yeah, hi, Jesse.
Hi, how far did we get? This is just
Uh,
an indication to me I need to find an Ethernet cable because I don't have one currently.
I will send you one. Okay. Before we sign off though, I want
I
we're gonna
missed
do
it
a
all.
we're gonna do a rapid fire round. I'm trying to remember so the last you were here for the women's match. So, all right, let's do a rapid fire for your thoughts. What did you think of Stu Grayson versus the Invisible Man? Take
This
as long
was
as you
almost
want
as
to.
this was more ridiculous than the Cecil Nix one. Loved it. Loved that the crowd was getting into it when the actual Invisible Man showed up. And I think the unsung hero of this match was the referee selling everything like it was legitimate because of course it was.
Oh my goodness. I agree with you. This was a hoot. And then, of course, we got Mystery Wrestling 24 and 25 coming to us this month. So, Mystery Wrestling 24 is going to have Kenta. And then it's the 3-year anniversary for Mystery Wrestling 25. So, we're going to see who shows up. So, looking forward to those. All right.
I feel like that's gonna be
What
a
do we,
big show.
yeah. London Lightning versus Tommy Billington for the Mystery Wrestling Championship.
This was a very solid, very good match. I like London Lightning. He seems to improve every time I watch him. I didn't know anything about Billington at all, but from the trunks, from what the commentators were saying, it definitely like Dynamite Kid type thing.
That he is, I believe it's either his uncle or his dad. That's the original Dynamite Kid.
Okay, very cool and Dynamite Kid tragic story there. But either way, this was a great match, and I like that London. I missed the last Mystery Wrestling, so I saw London Lightning as a champion. I was like, okay, gonna need to go back and watch 22 and see what happened there. But no, this match was very, very good.
Oh, absolutely. And again, if you definitely go check out Mystery Wrestling 22, Stu Grayson versus London Lightning was a really good match. It was a lot of fun and I thought it was solid. But yeah, so this was a solid match. London Lightning still champion. Next match, we have Harlan Abbott versus the pioneer of the Michinoku driver himself, Taka Michi.
You know how excited I was when Taka came out to see him when they actually let him be the fantastic and excellent worker that he is and not just the comedy spot with Kai and Tai and all of that. He's so good and so I don't even want to say critically, I want to say criminally underrated and underappreciated. So I was very, very happy with this.
Exactly. I was just like, I love this. And I was like, bring him more, bring him more. Anyways. And then finally, we have Psycho Mike versus Sasquatch, who was channeling MJF because MJF could not be part of the show due to scheduling issues, but we still had some MJF isms in there.
He came out with the scarf and it was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just convinced MJF didn't have issues. He's the Sasquatch. He's in there.
He was in the costume the whole entire time.
I'm convinced.
Oh my goodness. I had a blast with this one. I was laughing so hard. And Sasquatch MJF wins against Psycho Mike. So good times.
Psycho Mike is again someone else underrated when it comes to just giving everything to the comedy spots
Absolutely.
and selling it like it's just to he makes you believe that he believes, and it's one of those things where with comedy wrestling, you need to be all in with the gimmick, and
Oh,
Psycho Mike
uh-huh.
really does it well.
He really, really does. But yeah, Jesse, I appreciate your quick, rapid thoughts on the rest of the Mystery Wrestling 23. And even we're gonna get you an Ethernet cable, but even then, I appreciate you being here nonetheless because it's not as fun doing it by myself.
No, I can't imagine, and hopefully the next review we'll have a few more people on here because I think we have 5 in the group. So,
We do.
hopefully we get at least
So
1 more next one.
we gotta at least get one more person in here so we can make it. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back in 2 weeks for Mystery Wrestling 24. But as I was saying, we still got some stuff happening this week. Later tonight or in about an hour, I will be back here because we are still in Canada, but we will be talking about Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's first event of 2026, Uprising, which saw some really fun matches. We got some new champions. We saw probably a match of the year contender for me between Giselle Shaw and Deonna Purrazzo, so that was a baller match. And we have a new MLP Men's Champion in Stu Grayson. So you want to hear more about that, then tune in later tonight. Tomorrow evening, we jump back to the States as the TNA crew will be here to talk about TNA Sacrifice, which is the latest pay-per-view that happened for TNA this past weekend. And we will also be talking about TNA Rebellion because that is coming up next weekend. So those 2-week turnaround pay-per-views, man, I was just like, all right, let's go. We got lots of pay-per-views happening this month. Then on Saturday, you get a double feature. Saturday morning, had to reschedule due to certain things, but we are going to be here Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific to talk about Ring of Honor and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's Global Wars Canada show, which saw Ring of Honor and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling folks take each other on matches. A lot of fun. We got to see Athena take on some people, Deanna, Giselle Shaw, lots of Canadian talent. So it's a lot of fun. And then later in the evening, we will be doing a live watch along for NXT's Stand and Deliver, which is the final pay per view of our prediction schedule for NXT in the 2025-2026 schedule. But it is NXT's biggest show of the year. So we got 8 matches confirmed. Excited for those. And yeah, hope to see you there on Saturday. But that's going to be it for us here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch the Grapple Gumshoes solve the mystery that was Mystery Wrestling 23. And we will be back with our next case of Mystery Wrestling 24. But until then, from all of us here at BC Wrestle Pod to you at home, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic. And until next time, sayonara. And until then,
thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.